This is the part 2 and the conclusion of the story titled, I Married a Drunkard. Briefly, let me explain to you what happens to you when you are drunk. When you are drunk, just like Mr. Timothy here, your soul leaves because of the great discomfort of being in a body highly intoxicated with alcohol. When your soul leaves your body, other non-benevolent entities enter or lash onto your vacant shells. Once the entity took hold of the body, they use the body to play out all kinds of dark arts, such as violent, destructive behaviors and other negative expressions. Look at Mr. Timothy walking, falling and rolling on his way home because he has lost control of himself as a result of too much intake of alcohol. His wife Gina has been there carrying the load, picking him off the street on daily basis. She has been sunk in shame as a result of that, but at a point it became part of her and more like a daily routine. Advices from people have come to Gina, instructing her to run for her life, but one thing has kept her all this while. Remember, she told us in the part 1 of this story that the husband she married was not a drunk, and that anything has come to change the man she married to a drunk should leave her husband for her. In this marriage, Gina has taken the position of man in the family. A man should be the head, while the wife should be like the body. Remember, the body goes wherever the head turns to, but Gina has refused to go to the direction the head of the body was moving to. This is the reason for her decision. She caught the vision of the husband when she married him. Now, challenges of life might have caused the husband to fall out of his vision, but Gina, being a destined vision helper to Mr. Timothy, she stayed to assume a position that might be too stressful for most women. She was of the belief that there was a reason for her husband's predicament. She also believed that change is constant, and for that reason she was expecting to have the man of vision she married back to her someday. Let's continue and find out what happened and how far Gina was able to carry this cross. Today, Mr. Timothy was that drunk that his 2 legs could no longer carry his body, but his wife became his legs that carried him home. It took Gina over 2 hours to carry her husband home that evening. The following day, Gina went out on an errand but returned in tears and regret. One of the bar owners her husband was owing humiliated her in the public and collected her slippers. The man told her to get his money ready, that he will be coming later that evening to collect his money. Gina has no money anywhere to pay him. Later that evening, Gina came out of the frontage waiting for the man her husband was owing to come. Gina has no money to pay for the bill, but she must pay, else she will receive more humiliations. Gina continued carrying the cross by deciding to give out her jewelries to pay for her husband's bills, but that was a decision she found very difficult to make. She held the jewelries, lamenting over them, but for the love she had for her husband, she decided to give them away. This is to tell us that true love is not how much you take, but how much you give for the love. The bar owner entered the compound and dropped Gina's slippers for her. Gina stretched out her hand to give him the jewelries. He collected the jewelries and weighed them. The jewelries worth the amount of money the husband was owing, though not gold jewelries. Gina has paid a lot of prices for the sake of love she has for her husband. She has been humiliated publicly and among her own family. Her fellow women made jest of her, and she suffered all manner of social dishonor. None of these things hurt Gina more than using her jewelries to pay for bottles of beer. After giving her jewelries away for bottles of beer, she sat in front of the house lamenting. The husband opened the gate and wobbled into the compound drunk. Gina at this stage started getting tired of the whole thing. She started losing the strength to carry on, probably because she has been alone in the fight. When she saw her husband falling as he entered the compound, she stood up and moved to him. She held him by the shirt and in tears, asking him what she has done to him to deserve the punishment and suffering he was unleashing on him. She pushed him down and started hitting him. The hitting she was hitting was not to fight him, but to ask him questions. She asked to know if she made a mistake to have accepted to marry him. She was doing all this in tears and regret. A man who is drunk cannot understand the nature of pain she was feeling that moment. We didn't see Gina praying in the open, but she has been talking to her God to restore her marriage. When you look at Gina, you can see the level of weakness she has developed over time as a result of delay in the answers to her prayers. She started having a change of mind. Now she has decided to leave. Gina packed her belongings to leave the marriage. This was not Gina's plan for her marriage, because she insisted in the oath that said for better for worse. She did, but along the line she lost her strength and courage. She said, if only my husband would fight this fight with me, if only we were in this fight together, we would have conquered. On her way out, she met the husband drunk again. Her husband, Mr. Timothy, was coming into the compound, falling and rising and uttering meaningless words. Mr. Timothy has never spoken any meaningful words anytime while drunk. But when he saw Gina, his wife, with her personal belongings leaving the compound, he started apologizing to her by giving her beer to drink. That was the only thing that could fly into Mr. Timothy's head that moment. I knew he would have done something to control the situation, but he was not in control of himself. Gina pushed him aside and walked away. He knew something worse was happening to him, but he could not do much because the the spirit of alcoholic has taken charge of his reasoning. He told her that he gave her 2 days to come back or else he will make her a widow by killing himself. That was not a joke we thought it was. 2 days after, loneliness and depression moved Mr. Timothy to take his life. He stood there for some moments recalling the past and how confusing and hopeless the future seemed for him. He has nothing to fall on and his only friend and hope, which is his wife, has abandoned him. He concluded to just end it once and for all. He was doing all this not knowing that help was on the way. A man came from nowhere and stopped him. Sometimes I wonder why God allows some certain things in this life to get to a destructive point before he sends a helper. God is so glorious in his ways. He makes everything to happen the way it happens so that we can acknowledge his mightiness. This is Mr. Godwin, one of the top officials in Mr. Timothy's former office. He has been searching everywhere for Mr. Timothy. Mr. Timothy was fired from work as a result of conspiracy. He was not guilty of the allegation imposed on him. When he got out of work, he became frustrated and started doing menial works. Out of too much of thinking, he started drinking to forget his worries, but he fell out of control. Mr. Godwin found him and took him away. Mr. Godwin called back his wife and gave them the good news. He started by apologizing on behalf of their company. He told them that the accusation leveled against Mr. Timothy was false. They later investigated the issue and found out the truth. The culprit has been sentenced while Mr. Timothy was called back to the office immediately. The problem started when nobody was able to trace Mr. Timothy. Mr. Timothy lost his phone one day after drinking and he fell into a dish. Mr. Godwin was able to locate Mr. Timothy when he saw a post of him on Facebook. Mr. Timothy was drunk when someone made a video of him falling and rising and posted it on Facebook. Mr. Godwin contacted the person that posted the video and got Mr. Timothy's location from him. Luckily to everyone, he came before Mr. Timothy could take his life. Now the good news. The company did not only give him back his work, they paid him for the damage they caused him. The company gave him the sum of 5 million naira for the damage caused, 2 million naira for his salaries when he was away, and a brand new car. In this life, temptation comes our way, but God will always be God in our lives as long as we call on him. Though he might come late, but believe you me, he comes at the right time. Please, as I have blessed you with this wonderful message, please bless someone else by sharing this video now. Please share this video now because someone is waiting for you. God bless you. I want to thank you all viewers for being here with us. We have recorded over 100,000 persons following our Facebook page. We wouldn't have come this far without you, and we promise to keep improving in our videos. There is a challenge we are facing right now. We lost our shooting equipment and that resulted to us shooting our videos with Android phone which has no good video quality. It is not a must, but if you are led to support House of the Sons Global to acquire new equipment, it will be highly appreciated. With good equipment, we can go far in what we are doing. God bless you all and see you next Friday. Please keep watching, keep commenting and keep sharing our videos for many to learn. Bye for now.